Hi, guys. So, this week on Obsessed with Coaching, you get to hear from a top coach in the company, Danielle Natoni. She's awesome. I just got to hear her speak at Summit. She is a cool chick for sure. She's actually in Insanity Max 30 too. Some of you guys might recognize her from that. But, anyways, she's going to chat with you guys about being obsessed with tracking your business. This is so important, you guys. That is why I preach Teamsy, because it's what works for me. I think it's a great tracking system. There are lots out there, though, so you have to find what works for you, even if it's pen and paper, you guys. But you need to track your business. Otherwise, customers, potentials, they will fall through the cracks. And the fortune is in the follow up, you guys. Sometimes it takes, 3 to 10 times talking with someone before they say yes. So if you don't have a system to track these people, how are you going to know to follow up, right? Anyways, I'm going to let Danielle and Autumn take it away. Enjoy.
Happy Sunday, happy Father's Day. Hope everybody's morning is off to a great start. Like I said, we are doing our call at a different time today, so I know that's probably throwing some people, but you can always watch it later. A lot of people had plans for later this afternoon, obviously, with their dads. So we wanted to come on now and make sure we still got our interview in. And we did have a switch up in the coaches, but that's okay. We have an amazing coach on tonight. Hold on, can you guys listen for a second? No, wrong lights.
I just realized I just bent over and showed you guys my butt. Sorry about that. I'm just unplugging my computer and I'm going to put it in my bedroom and let this record so that way I can do other things and not distract you guys. Anyway, back to the recording.
No, wrong light. There we go. Try not to be so backlit. Stop blinding you guys. Okay, so we are speaking with the fabulous Danielle Natoni today. And as soon as I see her jump on the conversation, I will invite her on live and we will get to this. But we are talking today, oh my gosh. We're talking today all about tracking your business, how to do it, why it's so important, and how it's going to help grow your business. Obviously, that's, okay, there she is. Good morning, Danielle. Let's see, bring Danielle in. All right. All right, here she comes. Yes, it's going to be fabulous. Good morning. Hi. How are you? Good. How are you? Good. Look at you, all fabulous. Your hair did and your makeup on, and I'm in my pajamas with nothing.
Only because A, we have this, and then B, we're taking my dad out to eat. Otherwise, that's why I didn't want to do it yesterday. I was like, shower, no.
No, not going to happen. Not today, Autumn.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. Obviously, I so appreciate that you jumped on obviously I did that Danielle last night, and she would do this for us today, and she so willingly did, and we're sending you guys lots of love right now. We know you all told Chuma, and happy Mother's Day to Darren and to you, your dad. But, so we're talking today all about tracking your business and how to do it and why it's so important. And obviously we've covered like tons of topics in this group about like using social media, how to do that, how to do Success Club, and we talk a great deal about Google Docs and Google Forms and all these things. And I think we're at like such a perfect time in the business to really be talking about tracking your business. You just did the pre-launch for Lift 4, 80-day obsession has got all this hype going around it right now with the Today Show. So it's really important for people to not lose that focus of like, oh, I did one big invite. Okay, now what? So let's just dive right in. Like, I guess let's start with do I want to start with how you do it or why you do it? Let's start with why you do it. That's really important. Okay. Make sure we drive that message home.
Sure. So first of all, thank you. I'm excited to be on. I am obsessed with coaching. I've been doing it for 8 years now, and I still wake up every day just as fired up and obsessed about what we do. But it is a business. 8 years ago, I was a broke elementary school teacher with, no background in marketing or business or sales or any of that. And 8 years later, I'm running what could be considered a multi-million-dollar business. And the only way that you do that is when you treat it like a business. And you've heard people say that, if you treat it like a hobby, it'll be a hobby. If you treat it like a business, it'll be a business. But the reality is that if you are not tracking, if you are not writing things down, if you're not being deliberate, if you are not planning, this business will go by on accident. And when I'm going to use like a really funny example. Sometimes I'll get upgraded to first class. I travel so much. And I'll be there with my little Nikes and my tights and my backpack. And I'll be sitting next to like men all in their suits, working on their PowerPoints on their computers. And I giggle to myself because they're thinking some man put me there, right? Like that I didn't earn that spot. And in my mind, I'm like, my business is bigger than yours. And I don't say that to be mean. I say that I think sometimes because our buy-in is so small and I think what we do is so fun and maybe doesn't seem so corporate or so organized, I think we forget that this really is a strategic business. And if you want to create a legacy for your family, which is what I wanted to do, if you want to create something that will live beyond you and beyond your children, then the only way to do that is to strategize and track. I think back to even when I was a bartender. At the end of every shift, I had to go and I had to mark each empty bottle, and then I had to go and write all the different levels of all the different liquors were there. Why? Because it's a business, and you have to track the inventory that comes in and out. And the same is true with what we do. We need to track every conversation that we have. We need to track every person that said no. We need to track every customer that's had success or had issues with a product. Like the only way that we can grow is to be strategic. So you have to decide the why to track is, first of all, if you don't want to track, that's cool. You absolutely don't have to. But then don't say to your upline or to your success partner, to somebody, I want to make this business work, because you don't. If you want to have fun with this business, that's okay. There are plenty of coaches who do this because it's fun and they love the community and that's enough for them. If that's not enough for you, then you've got to take it to the next step. And tracking your business doesn't just mean even conversations, customers. It also means social media. It means being strategic and having a plan and not just posting on accident, posting on purpose with intention. So the why that you track your business is if you want to be here, you won't track it. But if you want to be elite, you want to be a superstar, you want to be in the Millions Club, you want to create a legacy that lives beyond you, then you're going to get out pen and paper or your computer, and you are going to treat this like you are a CEO, because that's what you are. And and when we say that, like, oh, I'm the CEO of my own business, that doesn't just mean like the fun picture of you with your laptop by the pool. That means all the unsexy stuff that goes along with it. When you are a CEO, sure, there are cool things like, yeah, if I want to take a day off, great. And if I want to buy myself a present because I feel like it, awesome. But then there's also the days when you literally have not showered or used the restroom in hours and your eyes are going cross because you're just on the computer for so long. And those are the true behaviors that will get you to the next level. So why do you track? Because you want to build a business. You want to treat it like a hobby, don't track it. You want to create something that lives beyond you, you're going to figure out a way to be more strategic.
Oh my God, I love everything she just said. And you guys, I have to give you a really quick example before we dive into stuff, because I think so often everybody gets caught up in the like, oh, it's only supposed to be fun. It's never supposed to be hard. And the second it gets hard, I'm out. And I'm just going to give you guys, I'm going to let you guys in on something that like has been going on for the last like 2 weeks for myself and my brother. So I've talked about the fact that we're in the middle of opening a restaurant, okay? And yes, this is a little bit different than obviously what we do at Beach Fun. But that still leaves me as the CEO. It still leaves me as the president of the corporation. It still leaves me in charge of the money and the decision making and all of this stuff. And here we are, we're right in the middle, like we're halfway done, and the city has decided to put us through hell, okay? So there are hundreds of thousands of dollars invested. There is a lot of money already invested into a very long contract. There's all this stuff going on right now, okay? I was on a plane to DC to give a lecture about mental health, and my brother is messaging me going, if we're going down in flames, Anna, like literally this is where he's at. He's like, shit just hit the fan, call me. I'm like, I'm on a plane. I'm trying to have conversations about business on a plane. My eyes are welling with tears. with the businessman in the suit sitting next to me. And like, I'm in DC up till 1 o'clock in the morning in DC trying to figure things out, do my event, like shut it down, get right back on the phone with the attorney, and we're making everything work. But my reason for telling you guys that is it's the exact same thing. It's like, it sounds like it should be all fun and games to open a restaurant, and there's days where it is, and when you're like, oh, paint color, and not like that's super cool. And there's other days where I'm like ripping my hair out and I'm bawling my eyes out, and I'm like, this is so hard. And every single thing, part of why I'm saying this is every single thing that the city is doing, or these two people in particular, it's a little shady. I have to track every single conversation I have, because if I don't track it, there's some serious stuff going on. Let me just say that. But my point is that in tracking every conversation and every time they tell me one thing and do another thing, I'm protecting myself as a business person. I am making sure that all of that money I put on the line is protected, and that God forbid something go wrong, I have my documents that say, this was not this what you said on this day, and then this is what you said on this day, and then this was the actual thing that happened. And that's another really important thing, you guys. So obviously you're not going to go through things like that, but like Danielle is saying, every time you get a customer that says no, hopefully they give you a reason why. Every time you get a customer that maybe returns a product, hopefully you get a reason why. Those are things, or maybe you get somebody that's like, hey, you know, I signed up under you as my coach, and then you didn't really help me. And although that sucks and it's a blow to our ego, that is a note to you to be like, shoot, what wasn't I doing for that person? Like that, you track your behavior too, so that you can continue to improve as well. So I think that all those things are really important. Like, you got to know that there's going to be good days and bad days along with it. And tracking is just one thing that helps keep the business moving in the right direction, instead of just going, we're going down in flames and there's no recovering. So, okay, so now that I've shared that fun little story with you guys, let's talk about it, Danielle. So, because I love watching you on social media, and I love, like, I always see in your stories, like, anytime you add a new coach, you know, you're putting it in Instagram stories, and I see you filling in their name, and it's like, oh, I've got 5 people, and now I've got 7 people, and now I'm at 10, and I see you do it with challengers too. And obviously you're doing that on social media to show us, but I'm sure you're doing it even more so on the back end. So let's talk about tracking your coaches first, because I actually think that, you know, the challengers are really important, but the money comes when your coaches do well. So let's talk about making sure you're tracking your coaches, who you're inviting to the opportunity, and how you're helping them grow by tracking what they're doing.
For sure. And I think that there are stages of tracking. So I think if you're a new coach to maybe like a diamond coach, the way you track is going to be very different than, you know, me, you know, double superstar diamond with like 5 different business centers. You know, it's kind of, as your business grows, you're going to find different ways that you track. I think you can track a lot more closely when you're newer. And I think when you are newer, or your business is smaller, it's a perfect opportunity to track really closely and have great systems in play, so that as you grow, you know, in the regular business world, they call it to scale, right? So when you put your systems in place early on, when you do grow to scale, it allows you to take those same principles and to magnify it even larger. So one thing, obviously, is you've got to track who you're talking to. And I'm sure, hopefully, you've read some network marketing books. Because whether you like it or not, we are network marketing. And while we do it with much more class and grace than many other companies, that is the model within which we are founded upon. And when you shy away from that, you actually make it look more icky than it is. And so in network marketing, you know, a great book is Go Pro by Eric Worre, or Get Over Your Damn Self by Romy Neustadt. These are both great books for network marketing. But what you're going to hear them say is track. You need to track and have a list of every single conversation that you have. Now, you might be pen and paper. When I first started, I was pen and paper. I literally had notebooks everywhere, and I would rewrite the page over and over again. And you basically would stay on my list until you told me to get the hell away. Like, literally, even if you said no, it's like, yeah, I'm not really sure they need no, though. So maybe pen and paper is for you. Maybe you are more of a computer person and you're going to keep it real simple and do it in an Excel spreadsheet. Maybe you've tried the free Teamsy. A lot of my team uses Teamsy and they really like it. You get a free 30-day trial and then you can, pay to do longer. It was created by like a former Beachbody coach, so it was set up for Beachbody. A lot of people use Streak. I don't really care what you use because here's the thing. I actually don't think there's one right way to track. I think you've got to do what feels right for you. I actually use something that you can't use because my husband's a tech nerd and he's like in the beta testing of something, and so I'm using that and I really like it. And so it just all depends on what works for you. But what you do have to do.
Oh wait, you're freezing. Are you there?
I'm here.
Okay, we got you. You said what you do have to do is
not freeze. Okay. What you do have to do is write down every single conversation that you have, where they came from. So for example, if you are communicating, right, and so it's, okay, I just met on in Calgary and we're communicating on IG stories or in my IG DM, and our first conversation was on this date, and she told me her goals were, you should have all that written out. So that when she and I have the back and forth, and maybe she doesn't reply to me right away, because you guys, how many times do you have that? I have so many coaches tell me all the time, they ghosted me. Maybe they didn't ghost you, maybe they just haven't gotten around to it. And so by the time Autumn writes me back, I want to be able to look at that info and go, oh, that's right. She told me that she was getting ready for a big event and that she wanted to tone up for that. And so I'm going to make sure to tailor my response back to her. And when you don't take really detailed notes of each person you're speaking to, what you're doing is making them feel like a number. And there will come a point, like I basically use the same response to every person who is interested in coaching. That's actually the name of the script that I have in my computer. It's called Interested in Coaching. But I always started with a personal sentence. So if Autumn and I were talking and she told me she wanted to, her goals were to, get in shape for this event and to earn a little extra cash to go on vacation, I would use that. Thank you so much for reaching out to me, Autumn. I love that you said that you want to get turned up for this event. I have so many things that will help you do that. You said that you would love to earn a little extra cash to go on a trip this summer. I want you to read below what I share with people who are interested in doing what I do to answer all your questions, and I think that we can achieve both your goals. But because I'm still going to just plug in the script, but I'm going to start it with a super personal sentence. And the only way I'm able to do that is if I track, if I know what she said to me. So however you want to track, pen and paper, Excel spreadsheet, you should have their name, where you're communicating with them, Facebook, Instagram, email, whatever. The first date of your conversation, their specific goals. And then if they say, great, reach back out to me at this date, not only should you write down when you're going to follow up with them, you should put it in your calendar. I am a firm believer. I live or die by that calendar. If you are not in my calendar, we are not happening in any way, shape, or form. So earlier on, when your business is much smaller, you might be able to plug into your calendar exact days and times of when you're going to follow up with people, even if they don't know that, so that you're going to get that reminder on your calendar. Oh, I need to follow up with Autumn about coaching. When you do that, because you've heard the art is in the follow-up. And so if you're not following up with people, but you need to know when to do that. You definitely don't want to do it the day after. I just sent her the message. You need to give her a little time. So I'm going to want to write those things out. And I don't know about you, but I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I've got like 9,000 things going on. And so if I don't have everything written out in some way, shape, or form, who I talk to, where I talk to them at, when I'm supposed to follow up with them, what they're interested in, it's all going to become very muddy and very unclear. It's why I'm guessing that Autumn probably had to put together a business plan in order to open this restaurant and in order to get investors in the whole thing. And I can guarantee you they have a calendar of when things are going to launch and things are coming in. Our business is exactly the same. You should be tracking every conversation that you have. And when it comes to coaching, I think it's important that in your conversation with them, when you send them the info, you say, and is it cool if I follow up with you in 2 days, in 3 days? And you might be like, oh, that sounds like so salesy, so network marketing. No, it's not. Those people on the other end of that message are so busy too. They're probably not ignoring you on purpose, but they also have kids and a spouse and a job and a this and a that and their job. And your email, honestly, is just a small piece of their day. So when where your head is at, they're probably gonna be like, oh my God, yeah, Friday would be great. Because people want to work with a coach who they know they can count on, who they know will show up every single day. And that starts with those first initial conversations. So I think I kind of went all over the place.
It's okay. I actually want to tie in a few things because you said, like, you hit on so many great things. So first of all, really quick, you said, I love what Danielle is saying about tracking the first date that you have interaction with them, because we've talked a lot about this and people have said, like, how often do I follow up? I don't want to be annoying. So if you know that the first date you talk to them was June 10th, then you know, okay, probably like 3 to 5 days is a good amount of time. Like, if you let it go so much longer than that, they're going to kind of forget that they even were talking to you, or they might get approached by somebody else who follows up faster. But if you have a nice consistent beat to it, like, okay, you know, we had our first conversation on this day, so in 3 days I'm going to send my follow-up. And then depending on that response, like, and so then you mark, I sent a follow-up. How long did it take them to respond? If they're responding to you like this, then of course respond back quickly. But if they have a little more lag time, then you can give them just a little bit of breathing room. That's important too. The other thing that I love was about you saying that you do have a script, because we've had a lot of coaches saying, don't script, don't script. And I think that that's like a really nice sort of combo of the two, right? Like, sometimes people feel like they really want to just have that solid, like, this is my response every time somebody asks about that. And it's great to have that response, but only if you have that personal touch at the beginning. That is so important, so that people don't feel like it's the blanketed email. Because you guys, just think about yourself. I know when I get those blanket emails, I don't even open. I can tell before I open. Like, you can tell by the subject line. You can tell because your email will show you the first sentence or two. You can tell if it's going to actually be something personal, or if you're like, man, more junk mail, swipe delete, because I don't have time for that. Like, so make sure that when they see that in their inbox, they're like, oh yeah, I want to talk to her. And like Danielle said, don't be the annoying person who follows up the next day. I experienced that a few weeks ago. Like, I was trying to get a price quote from a company on POS systems. And I called, I asked a couple questions. I asked this woman to send me an email with information. She never sent me the email with information. She called me every day for 10 days. Like, I finally had to say, stop calling me. You didn't even give me the information I asked for. So that's really important too. Like, if somebody says, hey, I'm interested, send me the info, that info needs to go to them immediately, like that day. And you need to mark off, I sent them the email, check. Because that way, you can, when you follow up, you can say, like, if you didn't hear from them, hey, Becky, I sent you, I loved our first conversation. Did you get the email? Did you have any questions? Because then they might go, I didn't get it. And you can say, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Did I end up in your junk mail? Like, that way you know, or you're not sitting there going, did I send that? I meant to send it. I sent it to 3 people. Was she on that list? Like, you're not all confused about it. So I think that was really important. There's one other thing you were just saying. We talked about dates. We talked about, what did you just say at the end?
I don't know.
It'll come back to me.
But I will say this about the scripts really quick too. The scripts that I have came from conversations over time. And this is what I always share with new coaches. As you have a conversation that lands a win for you, keep that message. And then just keep tweaking it. So literally the script that I use sounds like me. It doesn't sound like a script, even though I let them know that it is, because I have that very personal sentence first. But that was the culmination of message after message after message of deciding, okay, this really works. They said yes. Okay, when I added that didn't work, right? So take every conversation that you have, be smart with your business, right? So we want, as Shalene always says, you want to work smarter, not harder, right? So work smart. And why working smart is taking every time that you write a response to somebody and looking at that, and if it lands you a win, what about that was so good? Let's keep that. And then if you have, another conversation and it doesn't land you a win, okay, what was their objection? What could you have written differently? And then make sure it sounds like your voice. Whenever I type a response, I say it out loud as I'm typing to make sure it has words like dude and yo and things that I would say that sound very like me, so that they still get my essence, even though they might understand that it is a response that I use in general. Because as you grow, hopefully you're going to get overwhelmed with so many responses to being interested in coaching that you are going to need. Like, it would be impossible, really, at this point, to handwrite the same thing, because I'm going to tell them the same information, right? I'm going to land on key points every time. You don't have to be at your goal weight. You're perfectly made just the way you are. You don't have to be a salesperson. Here's kind of how it works. So why would I rewrite that every time? But I do want to tie in those personal pieces, and that comes from tracking.
So here's something else I want to touch on that I don't think we've covered yet, and I think this is really important in terms of tracking. So let's say we've got some coaches in here, they're maybe at Emerald working towards that diamond, or maybe they've hit their diamond and they're trying to hit that next level, right, where the money starts to jump. So they've got a number of coaches under them, and they're some are discounts, some are rubies, some are working their way. What is it that they should be tracking, right? Because obviously you have your right leg, you have your left leg, you need to know who your power coaches are, and what is it when they're sort of sitting at that spot that's going to bump you to the next level? What is it that you start tracking with them, inside your coaching? I think we've spent a lot of time talking, not with you, but not just you, but with all the coaches so far, about just getting them in. But let's go next level. Let's go hey, we've got the coaches, they're in, and they're fighting, and they're fighting, and they're fighting, and how do they help get those coaches to that next level?
Yeah, for sure. So the first thing I would say is invest in a whiteboard. Whether it's a giant whiteboard that goes up on your wall, I have mine behind me, or whether it's just a small one that you could get you would use in a teacher's classroom. But what you want to do is, the first thing is you want to write those names of those people that you know are going to be your power players, whether they tell you or you see it. So obviously you're tracking Success Club. Success Club is literally our bare minimum clocking in to business. So I'm pulling reports every week to see who has points on the board, right? So Success Club is for sure one thing you need to be tracking. You also should be tracking, obviously, whether they're active or not. You guys become a back office junkie, okay? You should be in that thing so many times. You want to see when your coaches find their first coach, right? So I'm always looking at new coaches in my organization to see if any of my, personally sponsored coaches, I see their name that they sponsored a new coach, because I want to celebrate that, right? I want to be congratulations, Autumn signed her first coach today. So exciting. But then I also know if Autumn signed her first coach, she just needs one more coach to be an Emerald. So I want to be tracking all the coaches who have a coach on the board, because it does not no good to only have one coach. I want to get them to Emerald so they can unlock that part of compensation plan where they can start to get team cycle bonus. Okay. So we want to be tracking, obviously, brand new coaches. You want to track who's active. You want to track who is, has one coach on the board and could be Emerald. You want to track people who have points on the board. Literally, never let a coach end the month with 4 points. If they have 4 points, it's slapping you right across the face. All they need to do is help one more person. You want to track too. Here's the other thing. There is a difference between, as your business grows, you will not be able to track every single coach you have, hopefully, okay? But what you do want to do is work with the working. You want to work with those people that are working really hard. They're on every call. They are, signing coaches. They are hitting Success Club. They have volume on the board. Maybe they're not signing a ton of coaches, but you can see that their volume is going up. So you want to track volume. The coach online office can be overwhelming, but if you're not pulling reports, then again, you're missing the business side of this business. I love going in there and pulling that report and clicking on, there's 2 different ways you can view it. You can view coach recognition view, which is going to show you things like Success Club and Leadership Ladder and their rank, and then the other one is rank audit view, which will make sure that you can help them see. Because here's the thing, if you're trying to get to Star Diamond, if Autumn's sister, let's just pretend, I know this is situation, it's just easier. Okay, so if Autumn is the diamond coach and she's trying to make her sister to diamond to make her 1 star, Autumn has to track with her sister those 6 weeks, right? So she's got to be able to look at Haley's downline and go, okay, she's got still her 8 active coaches, her 2 Emeralds are still active, everyone has enough PV. And so the bigger your business gets, the crazier that gets. Like when we were going for Double Superstar a couple months ago, I literally had to track 15 other business centers other than my own. And so what I would say is that a whiteboard is going to be life for you, because literally I would write it out. And I actually just erased mine because we have people here and like they were taking pictures and I was like, they don't need to see all that. So I took a picture, I'm going to rewrite it. But normally what I put up there is who's working, who's close to diamond, who's hitting Success Club regularly, who do I need to be keeping my eye on? And there's no one set way to do that. But what I will say is in the beginning, it's going to be very easy for you. You've got 3 coaches. You're watching all 3 of them. And as your business grows, you're going to be keeping your eyes on the runners. And, you know, Arnaud, who I think works a lot with Canada now, he used to be my mentor early on. And he said, and I'm probably going to jack this fella, but he said something that really stuck with me, which was, you can't treat a duck like an eagle. Pretty sure that's what he said. And what he was trying to tell me was, because I came from an elementary school teacher background, I wanted everyone to get off the bench. And I wanted everyone to be a winner. And the reality is that's not the case. And you're going to find that in your business. Not everyone is going to be an active coach. Everyone is going to be an emerald. Not everyone is cut out for diamond. And so when you give your same focused energy and attention to everyone, it's actually extremely unfair to the people who are working really hard for this. So what he meant by don't treat a duck like an eagle is really work with those people as you're tracking your coaches, and you see someone who comes in and right away you get it, and they're going to Emerald and they're working hard and they're signing coaches and their Instagram stories are on fire. That person gets all of your attention, not the coach who tells you they want this business, but they can't seem to ever get on the national wake-up call. And so I know, especially because we're a very female-centric business, we tend to lead with our hearts instead of with our minds sometimes. But the reality is you should be tracking who are your runners and giving 100% of your energy to those people. Doesn't mean you won't be there to support the people who are laying low, but track your runners. And for me, that comes out, I like to just see it. And you know what's funny? Some of my coaches told me when I once took an Instagram story of my whiteboard, they're like, oh my God, my name is on your whiteboard. You guys, people work harder for you than they will for themselves. So let them know you're tracking them. But somebody, I think I saw here said, where can I find these reports? In Coach Online Office, you guys. Like if you go to your Coach Online Office, monitor my business, sponsorship drill down, there will be 2 different ways that you can pull the report. And what you do then is it goes into an Excel spreadsheet and you can sort it by whatever information you want, right? So if I want to see Success Club for the month, I'm going to click on just the box that has it, and I'm going to click sort descending so I can see who has the most all the way down to the least. Or if I want to see volume, same thing. And if you're like, I have no idea what you're talking about, go play around with it, because I'm about to say something that's a little bit tough love.
Give it to them.
This is amazing that Autumn is doing this for you, and it's so great that you have hopefully an upline coach that helps you. But at the end of the day, it's not okay if you don't know where reports are. Go figure it out. Like, this is your business. I think Christina Delgado said it once, and I think she took it from somewhere, but it's like looking at 2 sentences. I will help you build your business, period. Or I will help, period, you build your business. So you should be able to go in your Coach Online Office and play around with those reports and figure them out, because you're so obsessed with this business that you want to know everything there is to know. Between the Coach Online Office, between groups like this, and between YouTube, you guys, and Google, there is absolutely no reason for you to not be able to figure something out. There are people who are less smart and less talented than you crushing this business right now. So, like, after this, go play around with the Coach Online Office. Go find something new, because tracking your business also has a little bit to do with experimenting and seeing, like, okay, what is there in here for me to see and look at and understand? So anyway, again, big long tangent.
No, it's great, because I love that, because that is the one thing that I do. Like, I'm gonna just drive it home even more. Is we have been doing these calls. I think this is week 9 now, and we're getting so much amazing information from coaches that have had so much success. But what I can tell you, and I'm going to put my own sister on the chopping block for a minute, is that 4 years ago when my sister signed up, she was the person who, like, she was too busy. She was so busy that she didn't have time to figure it out. And so she used that as her excuse and was like, it's too hard, it's too complicated, I don't get it. And she just didn't bother, right? And she, to this day, kicks herself because she's like, I could have been 4 years further than I am right now. And you never know what life's going to throw at you. And 4 years ago, life was good. And then 2 years ago, like, threw her on the ground and beat the crap out of her. And was like, and she's like, oh my God, had I built the business and just taken the time to figure it out. And I do see you guys a lot, and I'm not putting anybody down. But I'm saying this again, it's the tough love part where like a coach is on here telling you guys stuff and everybody said, can you just share it? Can you give me your script? Can you tell me what your woo-foo form says? Like at a certain point, you guys have to be willing to work your own business. Like Danielle said, first of all, you can go out there and find it. Like you can go click on her Instagram story. I guarantee her woo-foo form will come up. Like go search somebody's name on YouTube, like, and they all have videos. Like Melanie Mitchell has YouTube videos galore. Like I'm sure Danielle probably has YouTube videos galore out there. Like you can't ask everybody to just give you their hard work because one, you won't appreciate it, and two, you still won't really know how to make it work for you because you didn't take the time to figure it out. So while we give you all of this amazing information, you still have to figure out how to make it work for you. Not every single thing is going to be right for you. You're going to have to pick and choose, and this one worked and this one didn't. And I like how they did this. Let me see if I can tweak it this way. Like that is all really important. But I think obviously the major message is you have to be tracking everything in the business. I said this back on day one. You can't expect to have a full-time salary on part-time hours. It doesn't work that way. Like you better be so ready to hustle. Like if you thought that the business was just like, oh, I'm going to make a bunch of money by doing not a lot, that's not how it works. There's perks, like Danielle was saying, of like I can take a day off when I want, or I can work while I'm on vacation because I don't have anybody to answer to. But the bottom line is you still have to work. In fact, you probably in some ways have to work even more than at a 9 to 5. You do your 9 to 5 and you come home and you get your paycheck and that's it. When you're the CEO, there are no days off. You want that bigger paycheck, you got to keep going. Hold on, I want to read like 1 or 2 questions and then we're going to let you go because you're going to lunch with your daddy and I don't want to keep you. Somebody said it's incredibly frustrating if you're in a position where your upline is benefiting from you, but they aren't investing in helping you. Yes, there's a tough love, but there are incredible uplines do offer more. Okay, I get where you're going with that, and I totally understand it. And guys, all I can say is this: I know that sucks. It gets to, like, I get that it's frustrating where you're like, somebody's making money off of me, and they're not willing to help me. And you have 2 options. The one option is to defect for 6 months and not work at all, and then sign up under somebody else, which. I mean, that kind of sucks, right? You lose all your momentum, you lose all the work you put into it, and you go 6 months without making money. Or you sort of just push that out of your head. You forget about it, and you know what? Blow past them. You can blow past your upline. Like, they don't, like, yeah, they'll technically always be above you, and yes, they're always going to make money off you. Whatever, it is what it is. Like, how many people have bosses in the regular world that they hate? You're making money for that boss, too. So you can't focus on that. You're just going to have to go, it is what it is. We've had plenty of coaches in the top 10 who had no upline, no support whatsoever. And they were just like, I got to figure it out. Like, if I want it, I got to figure it out.
So I'm going to give an example to that, which is, so my husband and I have like 3 like core family values. And one of them is take extreme ownership. And it came from the book Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink. And if you haven't read it or listened to it, I highly recommend it. Especially for male coaches out there. It's a great book for everyone, but especially male coaches. I know we tend to give a lot of very female-centric books. So it's called Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink. But the idea is this, that no matter what, you can always find a way to take the ownership on you, right? Like that, a true leader does that no matter what the situation. So to that coach's example, right? Like it's very frustrating when your upline isn't helping you. You're absolutely right. It is frustrating. But if you were to take extreme ownership in that situation, it would sound a little something like this. I should have done my due diligence when choosing a coach. So I didn't, and that sucks. But you know what? I'm going to work past that and X, Y, Z. And so we do that literally in everything that we do. Like, we lost, if you guys have been following us for a while, we lost like hundreds of thousands of dollars, like in the home building thing that we were doing, whatever. Sucked, yeah, that guy stole our money, completely illegal, whatever. But in taking extreme ownership, we should have done our due diligence and really researching out the company further than we did, right? So I'm not saying that to be harsh, because I get it. Life can be unfair, but life will always be unfair. The chips will never be perfectly stacked. And so when you take extreme ownership and all you do, you level up and you figure out, okay, you know what, your upline's not supporting me. Yeah, that sucks. Let's move on. I'm going to take extreme ownership in that, and that I'm going to go to the next level, and I'm going to do just what Autumn said, and I'm going to show her, and I am going to build my business, and then I'm going to make sure I never do that to anybody else. So,
yeah, learning experience and everything, you guys. There is always one. The learning experiences aren't always the fun part of the business. They're the hard part of the business, but they're actually the most important part. Those are the parts, like Danielle said, like if you see that upline coach is not helping you at all, it is just a reminder to make sure that you don't do that to your coaches. That like you're there. If again, if you didn't research that person, or maybe you did research that person and a year ago they were awesome and now they've just sort of fallen off. Again, it is what it is. There's always going to be that lesson to take from it, and those are the hardest ones, but those are the ones that end up benefiting your business the most. Here's what I want to say. We could go for hours. Like, I know Danielle loves to talk about this stuff, and I go back and forth. We could be on here all darn day, but we're going to let her get to her Father's Day and celebrating, and let all of you guys get to your Father's Day and celebrating. But the most important thing to take from this is to track. That's what we're saying. You track your challengers and their success that they're having. You track your coaches and the success that they're having. You track your success and when you're, like Danielle said, when you get a win and you get somebody that says yes, what exactly was that conversation? The more you track, the more successful that you're going to be. Danielle, if you had to give 2 or 3 tips for this, what would they be to sort of wrap this up?
Yeah, so first things first is, I know we share a lot in TV Twice, what we do, and I love that. But you ultimately have to remember that the decision power lies in you. There is no right or wrong way to do this business. There is no right or wrong way to track. There is no right or wrong way to sponsor. There's only what feels right or wrong to you. Just because everybody's doing something doesn't mean you have to do it. Or just because everyone's doing something doesn't mean that you have to do it exactly the way that they're doing it. So, I would really love for you to remember that you are truly an individual and a CEO in this business, and to take all the information from amazing groups like this and from other coaches and use it more as like a guide and a source of inspiration, not for necessarily your absolute how-to guide. Because I think sometimes we get into such information overload and analysis paralysis of thinking that we have to do everything that everybody else is doing, when in reality, you just have to do what feels really right for you. The second thing that I would say, and it's going to sound so cliche, but and everybody says it, which must mean that it's a thing, is that be consistent, you guys. I always say that my only superpower is my consistency. I'm not extremely intelligent like my husband. I'm not super talented, like I can't dance like, Tanya, but I am consistent. I show up every single day, no matter what. Like, our Chuma, passed away, and we're really struggling with that. And yesterday, guess what I did? Did day 13, cardio flow. Why? Because I show up, and I need my challengers to know that I show up. I need my coaches to know that I show up. And so if there is nothing else that you do in this business, you guys, show up every single day. Consistency is key. That is what will build this. Not, having the best forms, not having the most exact social media. It's literally the fact that people know that they can count on you, because you are going to show up every single day, no matter what. And I'm not telling myself I'm not intelligent. I'm just trying to make a point of the fact that, like, this business really is built on the unsexy behaviors that you do day in and day out. And then my final thing that I will say to you guys is that you are capable of being successful in this business if you want it. And you have to decide that. Not everybody has to want to have the same amount of success as everybody else. So I think my final piece of advice is really have a discussion with yourself of, what do you want from this business? Do you want to be on stage as an elite coach? Do you want that title of Superstar Diamond. Do you want to really build it big, or do you want to just have fun with it and earn a little extra side cash? Because the amount of work that you will have to put in, depending on the level of which you want to be at, really matters. And so if you're like, yes, Danielle, I want all of these things you said, then you better wake up tomorrow morning and work your butt off, because hard work never goes unrewarded. So that's all I have to say.
I love it so much. Thank you so much for joining us on Father's Day with everything that's going on last minute. I can't wait to see all you guys at Summit in just a few days. Just so everybody knows, so next week's call is not going to be on Sunday because that's a big travel day from everybody coming home from Summit.